Hey guys, welcome into today's video. Today we're going to be ranking the last 15 eyeshadow palettes that I've tried. I have titled this video the last 15 indie eyeshadow palettes that I've tried because I've just been testing indie eyeshadows. I haven't tested any drugstore affordable. I haven't done any like mid-range price point or eyeshadow palettes you can get at like Sephora or Ulta, etc. So that's what's on today's agenda, you guys. I always rank these from worst to best. I do link them in the description box. I show you guys close-ups of the palette, including swatches and everything. I will say though, some of these brands have closed down. Some of these palettes were limited edition and so you can't get them anymore. And some of them, the brands themselves like aren't even selling palettes, and sometimes they sell just on Etsy, and so it's like a limited stock, and then like once it's gone it never comes back. So a lot of these palettes are discontinued and or you can't get them anymore. So what I'm able to link in the description box probably isn't all of them, and I do apologize for that, but I still bought them in like 24, maybe some of these in 23, and I just haven't gotten to them. If you guys know, I hauled a bunch of indie eyeshadows in the years, like I think probably at the end of 23 and 24, and I was doing an eyeshadow palette a day video. I just haven't had time to continue that series, but I've been testing a lot of these palettes privately. So some of these are just straight up discontinued palettes with discontinued brands. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's start off at the bottom. Starting off at the very bottom, and if you guys know, you know, I hate this brand. I don't just dislike it, I hate it. And the reason that I ended up getting so many palettes from this brand, because I've talked about it before, is that a lot of them were on sale. I wanted to test a bunch of different indie brands in 2024. And so I picked up a bunch of palettes at one time from this particular brand, and this was the very last palette that I had to try. I think I've decluttered everything else. So at number 15, it's from Notoriously Morbid. It's the Unearthly Aura palette. It's awful for me. I don't enjoy any of their palettes, and unless the formula changes, I would never buy another palette from this brand. Every one of the shades crumbles on me. The ones that are like more sparkly, some of them don't even like hold a swatch. They're really dry glitters. They don't stick to the lid. This palette's kind of weird because it seems like it's almost an all shimmer palette, but then some of these shades are kind of like satins, and so they have no light reflection, and so I'm kind of trying to use them as mattes. They don't stay. They don't blend well. I think they're probably better as a satin all over the lid, but the shimmers are dry and crumbly and gross and ooh, like nothing about this palette is good. I've never had a good experience with any of their shadows, and they look so beautiful too. They just do not perform. They're weird. They're not like any other indie eyeshadow formula that I've ever tried, which kind of makes them unique, which would be good if the quality was good and if they performed. But you guys can see even on the swatches, some of these shades you can't even swatch all the way through. I'm telling you, they're like dry ass glitter. They don't do anything for me. I've heard some of you have similar experiences. I don't know, maybe some of you like it. This is all obviously just based on like my personal preference and personal opinion, but this palette was doo-doo, garbaggio. You know, I like that they're an indie brand and like their stickers on here, you know, they're like handmade. It's fine. That's okay. It's just the quality was so freaking bad. So bad. So bad. So absolutely not. All right, coming in next, I don't even think this brand sells anymore, and I got this palette on, I'm pretty sure, the NBA Cosmetics website because they were selling the last of their stock. This is the Romance palette from Pink Crush Cosmetics. I want to say I picked up a couple of palettes from Pink Crush Cosmetics in their last of their stock from NBA Cosmetics because they were like $5. Now there's nothing inherently like wrong with this palette. It's just none of these shimmers are light reflecting. They're more on the satin side. The mattes are okay. This is a romantic palette, but these colors are like very desaturated, which is also okay. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just, it doesn't spark joy because it just doesn't have a ton of pigment. The shades don't last super long, and all of the shimmers are just like a satin shimmer. It's kind of a cool everyday palette, a very wearable to the office kind of palette, but it just, in my sea of palettes, this isn't a palette that's just overly exciting, and the fade from these kind of makes it go like, it was okay for like 2 or 3 hours while it was at work, but then it kind of just fades off. So, you know, that takes it from being like a maybe more exciting kind of neutral palette to, you know, it was just an okay palette. But again, you know, in the sea of the indie brand eyeshadow palettes that I have, it doesn't rank up there. All right, this next one is from a brand that I do have a discount code, so it will be listed in the description box. I love this brand. I've talked about this brand many times, and there are palettes in here that go way higher because I tested a bunch from this brand. So this is the Forever Love from Gloss Gods, like forever, you know, like you love your pets. And the color story, I think, is like trying to kind of follow that theme, you know, it's like pet colored maybe. It's maybe like a more neutral palette that's intended to be like on the brownie side. This again has more satin shimmers to it. I like the Gloss Gods mattes though. Mattes are always usually good. It's the shimmer formula that changes from palette to palette, and they have really light reflecting, very sparkly, very foily shimmers, just not in this particular palette. In this one, it's more of the like satin finish shimmers. The satin finish though is really nice, like way better than what I was experiencing with the Notoriously Morbid and even the Pink Crush Cosmetics, because these are just more pigmented satin shimmers. They're really pretty. The mattes are really good. It's not, again, like a palette that makes me go ooh ah and excites me and makes me think about it in the sea of palettes that I have. So not a bad palette in terms of quality, not even in formulation, just kind of like one of those where I just don't get all excited about it, and so that's why it ranked here. All right, the next three are actually like from a set, and they're from a brand that I actually really love. I think that I just was kind of disappointed in these a little bit for different reasons, honestly. So the first one up is from Glaminatrix. This is the Exquisite Eyes. They came with 4 of these 6-pan shadows, and there were like, there's a blue one that I don't have. I just don't wear blues that often, so I didn't pick that one up, but I do have 3. So this Exquisite Eyes is the green color story. My Exquisite shade, the super silver shade, it's gorgeous. It's just leaking like wet into the palette here, which isn't terrible. I don't necessarily mind it, but I've had to wipe it so many times. I don't think I've ever had a shimmer leak quite as much. Now the reason this one went where it did against the other 2 that I have is because these greens pull funny. They look funny. I don't like the tones on me, and that is pretty much the only reason. I find that with purples, I find that with reds, and I find that with greens. I have a hard time getting the color to come out the same way that it looks in the pan, and that always disappoints me. I like that there's a really sparkly shade and it's kind of chunky. I like that there's like a softer shimmer shade, and then there's a softer duochrome or multichrome. I think this is a multichrome in here, and each one of these palettes has it. It's just that these greens look way too funny. The Magnificent shade, the green in the middle, it's almost like blue. I hate when a green comes out like a teal color. I don't know. Something about these doesn't look right. The deep Alluring shade doesn't come out like super deep. It kind of fades and it becomes like teal on the eyes. I don't like that either. I don't like it. That's it. I mean, I think the matte quality is really good with Glaminatrix, and I love their shimmer formula. I have ranked Glaminatrix palettes in my ranking videos, like of all the palettes that I tried in the year, as #1. So I was a little bit shocked that I didn't love these more than I did, but the color has got to come out true to what's in the pan, or I don't know what to do with myself, or have a hard time enjoying the palette, because then I'm frustrated that I created a look that I wasn't expecting. I don't know if you guys are like that, but like if I'm thinking of putting a look together and then I really struggle with what it came out as, I don't like it as much. That's just how I feel about it. So not a bad formulation overall. It's a tone thing for me on that particular one. The next one up is also from this set. This is the Elegant Eyes. By the way, I love these packaging when they're stitched like this. It's really pretty. Glaminatrix usually has really nice packaging. It's usually like this faux leather. This one ranked where it did. I think probably not because I dislike the mattes or that they came out very different on the eyes, but I think part of it is that it's just neutral. I mean, you still get some sparkly shades and then you get like one multi-chrome in there. The multi-chrome is also like purple leaning, so I don't know, every time I put it on I kind of didn't like it with the browns, where normally I feel like I would, but there was something about these shimmers that I just didn't enjoy as much as the next palette. Again, I don't think anything wrong with these, but I also don't think these are their best performing mattes. I mean, I did say like it's not a quality thing, but I do find that these aren't as long lasting as some of the other mattes that I have tried from them, so that's why this one is where it is. And the very last one is the Entrancing Eyes, and it's like a maroon color story. It's like a purple color story, actually. I just liked this one so much more than the other 2 because it was like what I expected. I got good pigment out of the deeper shades or the mid-tone and deep shade, and then they came out how they looked in the pan. I liked the shimmers a little bit more. It made sense that the multi-chrome like flipped purple because you have kind of like a purple color in this. The quality in this one was just better and I got more of what I expected. I feel like that if I was saying to you which matte formula lasted the least amount of time on my eyes, it would be the brown one. It would be the Elegant Eyes. So I don't know, just the way that these landed, not every one did the same thing that I didn't like. Each one kind of did something different. Again, the packaging is really good. You know, Glaminatrix to me is just one of those brands that I feel like is totally worth the money. Every time they put out a release, I definitely get excited and it's something that I want to get. So that's how I feel about Glaminatrix. And I'm sorry that I just didn't get super giddy about these three palettes, where normally they would have ranked like so much freaking higher for me. All right, this next one is from a brand that closed down, and I got these palettes. There's two in here, heavily discounted on their website, and I'm so freaking sorry I did not try them sooner, because I don't care what you say, they are so freaking good. I don't know why they didn't do as well as like some other brands. This is the Safari Raine palette from Colored Raine. The reason that this ranked where it did was just a couple of reasons. You know, the pan layout, a lot of extra space. I don't know, that kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies just like a little bit. But the color story is really good. It fits 100% to the theme. It's a nice color story. Like for me personally, I like that you have like lighter tones and then mid-tones and that deep brown in the outer corner. I like that you get like some sparkly shades, but you also get these intensely pigmented satin shimmers. They're so freaking pretty. They can totally be worn all on their own, but you do have like one or two kind of sparkly shades, which is awesome. The theming of this just makes a ton of sense. So yeah, this is really good overall. I think this ranked where it did is because there wasn't more exciting shimmers, and that's probably the only reason. It's just not as exciting, kind of more of like an everyday palette, and satin shimmers don't get my knees a-shaking, you know? So that's pretty much the only reason that it landed here. Otherwise, guys, I didn't even realize, like Colored Raine, honestly, their satin shimmers have some of the most pigment to them. They're fabulous. They are fabulous. You guys will see on the swatches. They're so deliciously intense. All right, the very next one is from another brand that announced their closure, and they actually had quite a few palettes still available like long after they announced their closure, but I think that it's no more. And again, another brand that I am super sorry to see go. I don't know why they didn't do well, but they didn't, and here we are. But I picked up a bunch. I have decluttered one of the palettes that I picked up from this brand because it was like a color story that I didn't think I would get a ton of use out of, and it wasn't my favorite like pastel palette, but I will not be decluttering this. This is the all shimmer palette. It's called Break the Rules from It's Belle Cosmetics. I'm a harsh critic when it comes to all shimmer palettes because I think I want a lot of variety, but also I want a lot of depth in the range of colors that they have. Like, I understand if it's like fitting a particular theme and you're going for like all blues or something like that, but when it comes to an all shimmer palette, I feel like you have an even harder time to impress because there's no sense in like having shimmers that are exactly the same color. So I really liked this. You've got a couple of duochromes in here. Most of these are the same formula. Like if I had to guess, they kind of all look the same. They're right between kind of like chunky and smooth. You just get the depth or the range of shades in this all shimmer palette. And it's nice because some of the lighter ones are honestly very wearable because they have kind of a translucent base, which you don't necessarily notice when you're like looking in the pan. All of them look really intensely pigmented, but that's just not the case with some of the shades, which makes it nice because then you have that variety. But these all perform really well. Like they don't flake off, they don't fall off, they're not crazy, chunky, foily, wet, soaking, you know, all that good stuff. So I really enjoyed this all shimmer palette, and I'm sorry to see the brand go. The next up is a brand that I absolutely love. You guys have probably heard me talk about this brand on my channel. I do have a discount code with this brand and it is listed in the description box. I am not on their PR list. I just have the affiliate code because I asked for it a long time ago and I fell in love with this brand. And every release they have, I pick up pretty much, except the like really big palettes. And there's one that's brand new that I haven't gotten yet, but I usually do. So this is the Angles of Illumination from Bella Beauté Bar. Honestly, I love Bella Beauté Bar's formula, and I love that there's different like textures in here. Again, I like when there's variety, so I say like I like when some are smooth and some are chunky, but I didn't love this one as much as I thought I would, probably because it is a predominantly blue shimmer palette. I feel like I maybe thought that some of these tones would come out more green or more purple, but when you swatch them, you're looking at a predominantly blue swatch. is how I feel about it. And then the middle row, there's 2 shades that are literally almost identical. I don't understand why they look so similar. Moonlight and Gleam look almost the exact same shade. You know, I think my favorite part of this palette and where you get the biggest diversity is literally the bottom row. So I'm always finding myself reaching into the bottom row. It's too bad because Bella Beauté Bar's formula is so freaking good. It's so freaking good, okay? When you're talking indie, honestly, I think of Bella Beauté Bar all the time. But the diversity in this palette is just lacking. That second to bottom row has 2 shades that literally look the exact same on the eyes, and maybe they are the freaking exact same. And then that bottom row is really only where you get your like different colors. Because you have one that's definitely a duochrome that's like a pinky brown, and then you have like a translucent white that's like pink blue. I don't know. There's just so much more variety in the bottom row. And then you get like anywhere else in the palette. There's 2 rows that are blue that like when all is said and done, they're almost the same on the eyes. So, I mean, Bella Beauté Bar's packaging is always amazing. You can pop these out really easily because they're magnetic. Yeah, I love Bella Beauté Bar, but I didn't love that palette. All right, the next one is from a brand that I absolutely love their formula as well. They have become one of my favorites. This is the Metamorph palette from Artitude Cosmetics. I need to pick up some of their, like the vintage and whatever palette. I didn't get those and I meant to. And honestly, I feel like I would like those color stories more than I liked this one. You know, this is an interesting palette because you get neutrals, you get some like turquoise shades, and then like some pink purple shades. There's like a lot going on in here, and the formula of the shimmers is very, very different. You got some multi-chromes, you got some duochromes, you got some more foiled ones, you got a translucent shade, you got some sparkly ones. The reason I feel like this ranked as high as it did, maybe not for color story necessarily, but because of the quality and the variety in the shimmer formula, which I get in every single Artitude Cosmetics palette. For me, for the price we pay for indie shadows, that's what I expect. I expect variety because sometimes I want foily, chunky shit, and sometimes I want something a little bit more smooth. So when I pay that $70 price point for a freaking palette, I want the variety. I want you to give me some sparkly, and I want you to give me some shades that are quick and easy. You know, these are really, really creamy mattes. They're maybe like more creamy than I would probably like. And some of these shades pigment wise are a little bit desaturated where some are super intense. So I did have a hard time pairing some of the matte shades together. I think that's where I struggled the most with this palette. Otherwise, it was so freaking good. I need more from them. I don't need more, but I do need more. Like I need every color story I like from that brand. That's how I feel. All right, I told you guys I had another one from this brand. This is the Look for Rainbows palette from Gloss Gods. This is again another all shimmer palette. Ooh, this one is my favorite all shimmer palette in today's ranking. So there's no more all shimmer palettes. The reason is, holy shit, the variety on this is so good. If you guys look at the swatches, you'll see that most of these are lightly based shimmers, but they still have differentiating colors. And it doesn't necessarily look like that when you're looking at the palette itself, like in the pans. You might think some of these are intensely pigmented. They don't get super intense and densely packed pigment until you get to kind of the bottom row, which then brings me to the point of you get a lot of variety. So a lot of these shades are great for every day, and then you can amp them up if you want to do like a crazy indie look, you know, something super vibrant, super bright. Not that indie looks can't be neutral, I'm just saying like, you know, a really multi-chrome flat shifty blue shade, you get that in this. There's variety in the color, there's variety in the formulation, there's variety in the fact that it's like you got some translucent bases and then you've got some really deep dark bases. So good. All of these perform so good, and every one of these shows up differently on the eyes. You don't get one that looks exactly the same. There's 2 that like shift purple, one that stays a purple, like its base is purple, and then one who has a blue base that shifts purple. So like every shimmer came out different on the eyes. Even the blue one that has a stronger base, there's another blue, but it's translucent. So good. This is probably one of my favorite all shimmer palettes. This one and the one from DD Signature that launched, it was earlier this year. It was like the volume 2 all shimmer palette, the Chromebook. This one has got to be my like second favorite. I don't know. Both of those are probably tied because I think that if you're doing an all shimmer palette, I think I want to see ones that have like a translucent base, like maybe a mid-tone base, and then even like a deep base or a black based shimmer is good for me. Good for me. All right, the next one is from Colored Raine again. This is the Queen Bee palette. It's got the lenticular packaging where the bee's wings are flapping. Oh my god, it's so cute. It's only a 6 pan, but it's bomb as hell. Wait till you guys see the swatches on this. They're intense. The pigment is so freaking strong. It's insane. And these shimmers are different than the one from the Safari Raine because there's one that's a duochrome and then there's one that's like a sparkly shade. I couldn't with the color story. I almost couldn't even get my words out. Oh, the color story is so freaking beautiful. This is also like my kind of color story too. So, I mean, when I'm talking like a palette that I know I'm gonna get a shit ton of enjoyment out of, like it's gonna be a color story like this. And every one of these freaking colors looks good together. I'm sorry. I don't know what Colored Raine's formula was like, but if this is the quality that they were putting out, like what happened? Why didn't we support them? Why did it have to close? I just don't know. This was so freaking good. The swatches I feel like speak for themselves in the Colored Raine palettes because they're so freaking creamy without being powdery, and they're so intense, but they blend together so beautifully. This was solid gold for me. All right, this next one is actually kind of a shame because I hear that a lot of people don't care for this brand because there's been some like controversy, and I think it's still open. They just don't have any palettes for sale. I think I bought this palette when it wasn't new, but this is from Saint Angel Sinners, and it's the Saint Angel Sinners is Blessed palette. And I feel like all of the names were of people that worked there, and then some people were saying like, oh my gosh, you didn't even get some of the spelling right of like your friends or whatever. Like, what a shame. I don't know. I don't know the history of it. I'm just like speculating based on like things that you guys have told me. But it is a shame. It is a shame because I think I have 2 palettes from Saint Angel Sinners. They are so freaking good. Some of the best mattes, I swear, on the market. These work so well together. They blend perfectly. Like if I'm thinking of, okay, I want to smoke this one out, it does so without dissipating to zeroness. And then like if you're deepening, oh my holiness, all that is good in the world, these mattes are brilliant. Brilliant. And they always come out the same way they look in the freaking pan. They're brilliant. I'm telling you, they're amazing quality. And then you get variety in these shimmers. Some are chunky, some are foily, some are a satin. You got one that's a translucent base. Every one of them is different. Ay. The only thing that I don't understand is why there's 3 blues in this palette when you don't have like a blue matte. The only thing that I was able to pair like the blues with is the black shade, which is my favorite way to wear a blue, is to have a black matte. So I don't personally hate it. I love greens. This so good, you guys. I'm sorry. This palette is amazing. I think it all comes down to the mattes. I think that you can have really good shimmer formula, but honestly, if you have a shitty matte, your whole look is screwed. That's how I feel about it. I do such a better job creating an eye look that's quite obviously like a better job when the mattes kick ass. Mattes make such a difference, honestly, swear. I mean, shimmers do too, don't get me wrong, but like sometimes a shimmer is a shimmer is a shimmer, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can't even tell the difference between a shimmer, especially if you have like smaller lids and you're not putting like the whole shimmer everywhere and it's like a predominantly matte look. I think that it just is all about the matte, so that's a shame. You can't get this anymore, but I see that the owner still has like an Etsy page up, which is probably where I got this. All right, another one from Gloss Gods. I'm pretty sure that this is the last one that I have that I haven't tried, that I just like purchased from the brand. This is the First Gal on Venus. And here's where I'm saying, like, you know, Gloss Gods with the Forever Love palette, it was mostly satin shimmers. This is where they can do their amazing shimmers. You can see like all the different textures. You've got some multi-chromes in the corner, some foiled ones, some more like softer ones, a satin shimmer, this yellow here. The color story is to die for me. I love color stories like this. So it's already a palette I would probably rank pretty high anyway, but the quality is so good. This is just better than the Forever Love. The pigment is so much better. These shades blend together so much better. You get that variety in the shimmers. That Spacewalk shade, which is like an orangey shimmer that's like flaky, is to die for. I can't stand how beautiful that shade is. Like, I love a fiery orange shimmer. I love when it's done well too. It's got like a gold reflection. Oh, stop it right now. Even the satin yellow I was doing in the inner corner. Oh my gosh, I was getting some of my favorite looks out of this palette. So yeah, it had to be here. It couldn't be the next one just because the next one has like so much more variety variety going for it, but I swear it's because of the color story and that the quality just knocked it out of the park. It could have landed at number 1. It could have. That is such a good palette. All right, we're on to number 1, and it is the one I'm wearing on my eyes today. It is the Samarian Sunset palette from Adept Cosmetics. I've had this in my collection a while, and I actually intended to like film with it in my palette a day series, but I just didn't get to it, and it was calling my name for the summertime. Oh, I think this is my favorite Adept Cosmetics palette, and I have, I don't know, 5 or 6 at this point, and I really like their formula, but I have been a pretty harsh critic of their matte formula in years past. I find that their mattes, they don't blend super well, and I have even said, like, if you've given me 3 mattes in a predominantly shimmer palette and the mattes were poor performers, just leave the mattes out. I've said that in previous videos, but I think the matte formula in here was so much better, and these shades look better together. They all show up on me. I find that they pack nicer, they blend better. They're such a better quality than in some of my other palettes. This is a newer palette than ones that I've talked about in the past, but the shimmers in here are probably my favorite overall. Again, you get variety. You've got some sparkly ones that are multi-chromes that are like smoother. You have ones that are a little bit more translucent. There is one shade called Tal Saar that I am wearing on my eyes today that I can only describe as like a birthday cake of sparkles. I have no other shimmer like it in my collection. It looks like absolutely nothing in the pan, and it is freaking fabulous. It has like 99 different colored sparkles in it. It's so freaking pretty. The Praxis and Obsidian Order shade, which are just like the 2 burgundy shades, I have worn all by themselves. Now, because of how thick they are and how like multi-chromy they are, those 2 shades will crease on me. So throughout the day, even with set eyes, I kind of have to like pat them down, and if I pat them down, they're okay. But you can wear them on their own, which is hard to do when they're like really kind of juicy. You know, they have a lot of bonding oils in them. Now, the matte formula in here, it is powdery. I will say it's immensely powdery. There's a lot of kickback in the pan, but the way that they perform once they get to the eyes is still absolutely fabulous. The shimmers in here were just, I think, better than a lot of the other palettes that I have because these aren't all foily. Like, some are smoother, which is really nice, and some are sparkly, but they all really perform well. I don't get a crap ton of fallout with this palette. It was also a color story thing too. Like, this is just a beautiful color story that I think you can take fall, you can take spring, you can take summer. Like, this is a palette that transcends a lot of different seasons. So, I knew this was gonna be good. I had it sitting for so long, but it was calling me, had to get it on the freaking eyes. Yeah, I couldn't stop wearing every single one of these shimmers. I love, again, like a fiery orange shimmer, which you get a couple of. It's a really fiery palette, and the quality was delicious. So that is it. That is the ranking of the last 15 indie eyeshadow palettes that I've tried. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're not currently subscribed, I'd love to see you guys subscribe. I do have a video up already where I had ranked the last like 12 indie eyeshadow palettes that I tried. Maybe it wasn't all indie palettes, but I do try and do these videos like at the end of every quarter. So we just finished June. So I'll have another one again, probably in the October timeframe, to be ranking all the palettes that I tested July, August, and September. And then I'll have one at the very end of the year ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried for 25. And actually, I still have, I want to lean. Which way do I lean? Not that way. See all those? Like, I finally condensed them down, but there's still like 42 palettes left, I think. It's a lot. Honestly, I haven't even picked up a ton of new palettes recently. Maybe like here and there I've picked up a couple, but I haven't been buying them like crazy because I got a ton from different brands that I wanted to try. So I still have like Salem Cosmetics. I just had to go get them. Makeup Rituals, Sugar Drizzle. I have Sinful Echoes. I've got Titanium Foxes. Like, these are all brands I have not tried the formula of yet. So these are all palettes that are going to be upcoming and ranked. Right now I've got like a couple out for my everyday makeup drawer that I'm testing. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you're interested, hit that subscribe button so you can stick around for more content, more eyeshadow ranking. I have a ton of other ranking videos up on my channel if you're interested. I'm out of here, and I hope to catch you all later. Bye guys.